Hi guys, welcome to Conversations ZA, the podcast where we talk about everything that there is to talk about. Today we have SA rapper, model, musician, and creative in general, Clyde. But how's your week been? Let's start there.
My week, it's been busy actually.
Yeah?
Busy since last week. But
Okay.
I'm doing good.
Are we
gotta stay
working
busy.
in the...
We worked, I think, 3 days ago.
Okay.
But I haven't been working a lot. I've been trying to do other things, while
Okay.
I've been away from music and I haven't been dropping. So
Okay.
I worked 2-3 days ago, but not that much in the past maybe 2-3 months.
Okay, that's interesting. The first question that I really want to ask, want to get to know about you is, how did you start?
How did I start?
And like, what was your introduction to hip hop, bro?
I think back in like grade 6 primary school times, we used to listen to like a lot of Lil Wayne, Drake, We didn't really understand what was going on, but they were so cool, man. Like there was this cool thing about hip hop and you wanted to be like them.
Yeah.
So that's where the introduction sort of came in. And then around high school, there was a friend of mine who would come over to my house on the weekends. And we would just write to like random beats on YouTube. And one day he just came back from his grandma's place, a show. And he told me he met a producer and whatnot. He made his first song. And I think from there we just took off. Like after his track, we had like a trio thing going with this other guy.
Yeah.
And then we kind of like fell apart and they stopped doing music.
Okay.
And I kind of carried on from there,
And it's been a blast since.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It's been lovely. I'm glad that you think. And who would you say is your inspiration? Like where do you feel like you began?
My inspiration.
Like your first.
I feel like I've had 2 phases in my music career. I've had like a very hip hop phase and I've had a very trap change. Like I've gone a lot into like trap as well. Ventured more into that. So Migos would have been my trap influences.
Yeah.
Like I really, really dig the style that they came in with. And
yeah.
it was easy to flow with them. But before that, I think Lil Wayne or Jay-Z.
So you're Jay-Z. So you're also trying to become a billionaire one day.
You have to. That's the
That's money.
Everybody's trying to,
Yeah.
get that going. But back then it wasn't even about that. Like it was a swagger. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Jay-Z had this thing about him, and so did Lil Wayne. So I think they brought that hip hop side.
And which album? Which album would you say was the one? Or were you listening to albums at the time, or was it just like?
I think Carter 3.
Song?
Carter 3 was an album
okay.
I used to like a lot. I preferred it over Carter 2, I think.
Okay.
So that was Lil Wayne and Jay. I wasn't really listening to like a lot of Jay albums. I would listen to if it's playing on tracks and whatnot, but I really gravitated to what he was releasing.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Jay-Z's a mogul. Like Jay-Z's a mogul, and Lil Wayne as well.
Like definitely, like the way they've invented themselves and sort of changed hip hop for their generation is crazy. Because they could still pull through with the song now.
Yeah. I think another question that I really want to get into is you, like, as okay, we got into the inspiration, we got into like who you are as a thing. How would you describe your sound?
My sound. Oof. I don't want to use the word different because I feel like everybody uses the word different.
Yeah.
But I do want to use versatile. I think my sound is very versatile because given the right energy, given the right environment, I can pull off any sound for you.
So you can pull off R&B.
Yeah, I could. I could honestly pull off R&B for you, and I do want to venture into different genres, obviously. But I've noticed that I have to be in a very comfortable setting. Like I can't just work. Like, it's very hard for me. Like I need to have people that I've worked with either before or be in a space that I'm familiar with.
Okay. So do you prefer when people come and record at your place?
Yes, most definitely. Yeah, most definitely.
And what are your, like, how like rappers have that like the specifications before they perform and everything? What are your
I haven't actually made one. What's it called? It's there's a certain name for it, but it's fine. I haven't made one, but I really want M&Ms.
M&M's. What's M&M's?
The sweets.
Oh, you like sweets? Yeah,
I think I'm only ever gonna ask for M&Ms, to be honest.
Oh, like M&M the sweets.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think of that. I thought M&M the
Oh,
artist.
no, sorry, because on the list, like,
Yeah.
you just give whatever
You want.
Yeah. So whoever booked you, just give them a list of things that you would like, and then get it for you. So I think I just asked for M&Ms.
That's so simple. And people ask for, like, I saw Burner Boys the other day, and that was insane.
People ask for a lot of things.
Like a private whatever, private jet, or, for your entourage, crazy. Like.
But I mean, for them at that level, I think they do need that stuff. I remember when I can't recall the artist, but there was an artist that went to Africa, and he got a presidential escort for him to go him from his airport to his hotel and whatnot. So it was crazy. But I feel like for them being that level, being known worldwide, it's necessary.
It's necessary because you also need your entourage to be comfortable. You also need your entourage to be comfortable. But so that's your.
Yeah, I would ask for M&Ms.
And that's it. Clyde's quite a simple guy, hey? Honestly, I love that. And you were talking about venturing into different things, and I'd like to ask, what are those things? What do you think you'll?
Right now, I do want to do a lot of music, obviously, but if I am gonna go differently, I do want to act.
Really?
Yeah, I do want to act.
And what are the shows that you feel like you want to get into?
I can't necessarily say shows anymore because a lot of them are ending. But I would love to be on the Queen, man.
Really?
Yeah, that seems like a nice show.
Connie Ferguson.
Yeah. I would definitely love to be on the Queen, the River. Because the Ferguson films are crazy. And the way that they go about what they do. Yeah. It's different from any other production company that I've.
And what do you mean by different? Like what from them stood out?
The elegance. I feel like everything is professional. Everything is there's a touch, to Ferguson films, and it comes across in the shows. That's why the shows have done, amazingly the way that they have.
Yes. And South African. Let's go back into the hip hop space. And South Africa wise, who do you think really was someone that showed you basically representation? Who showed you that it's possible?
This is a cliche but nasty. Yeah, nasty. That kid did it in matric, and I didn't understand how, especially at the time, because the internet wasn't really popping like that, So for him, the internet wasn't really popping like that, especially in South Africa. So for him, he would have really had to be underground, making so many moves and connections to be able to do it at matric.
Yeah,
at 18.
Nasty he was, and he was insane before, even from his EPs and stuff like that.
I remember the mixtape "One Kid, 1,000 Coffins" or something like that. Yeah, that was crazy. That's the one that had Juice back.
Really? And how old was he when you actually released that?
I think 17 when he released Juice back.
Yeah.
And the following year he released that famous.
And he's a Durban gent, so I guess
it was. So it was this is so close to home.
Yeah.
For him to be able to do this at that age, it's crazy. And we were still young, so we were still just basically playing around with music. We weren't doing anything heavy. We weren't really making those moves. But to see him do it definitely flipped the switch of listen, man, you can actually
do something with this.
Definitely.
And you're amazing. I was listening to your EP, the latest one, Cologne.
Thank you.
Yes, we were listening to that, and that's such a dope project. I want to hear who was the inspiration for that, and then there's a specific song. There's a certain song that I really like.
Which song is it?
Sizzethu.
That's actually
yes, I want to know where that song came from.
Okay. Let me start with Sizzethu.
Yeah.
That song. Okay, so Sizzethu is my aunt.
Okay.
Yeah, she's my aunt. She grew up with me, so I know her as my older sister.
Okay.
She basically raised me from a very young age. My parents were So, Sis Z, she's the older sister.
Yeah.
There was a day where I was having a lot of like rental problems where I stay, and like it was kind of hard to reach out. And I remember just thinking of my sister, and I was on a phone call with her that day, and she just gave me words that I needed to hear for that image, So yeah, from that I kind of, there was a beat that had been playing for weeks that I didn't know how to write to, and when I was in the studio later that day, I actually thought of a conversation, and it was easier for me to write to that beat because it made sense. Like I feel like it made a lot of sense.
Okay. And do you produce for yourself?
Some tracks, not all tracks. That one was produced by Diesel, a good mate of mine from Durban, a good friend of mine. Cologne was produced by Nature. Setup was produced by Nature. I like to work with like other people when it comes to production.
Okay.
Because not only does it help me help them, but it also helps them to help me.
They would go.
No. I don't think I would.
Okay.
You what?
Wait, can we catch this?
No, we don't need to cut it. Keep rolling.
Just bad view.
Don't do drugs. Stay
Don't do drugs, guys.
No. Nah, I've seen what it's done to a lot of artists, like Aretha Franklin.
Really?
Yeah, okay. Well, she was more of
I know.
an alcoholic.
Oh, okay.
But was it Kirk Franklin, Michael Jackson? They all used to do. I mean, they were dope, but.
And also South Africa wise, we've had a couple of our own, like
Juju. So it's I don't think it's worth it,
Yeah, it's not drugs. Don't do drugs, kids. We're clean rappers here.
I mean, even J Money. Do you know J Money?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the young South African artist.
Yeah.
He's actually big on like no drugs and whatnot because he went through a tough time himself, So he went to.
I actually remember J Money. He was someone that I didn't know per se personally, but because we all grew up in the South, and I don't know if he's actually from the South or he just had a lot of friends from the South. He was from like neighborhoods, so obviously friends know him and stuff like that. And when he was coming up, and he was really someone that like a lot of kids looked up to, like because he was big with the Tabo Acid and
I don't know track with who was it?
I think
Frank
Willis
was on it.
Yeah.
Teleman I think was on that track. Yeah, he was going big. It's definitely going
That's
big.
hectic, bro. Like actually, I never thought we'd talk about those people, but like they were quite influential. I remember it was like the Misfit era.
Yeah,
That was crazy.
it really was. When Abotejo was still in the game big time, like that was crazy.
And what would how would you said you describe your sound as more trappy now, and you said Migos. Do you have any South African like? But there's not a lot of South African trap artists, eh?
There's a lot.
Are they?
There's a lot.
Trap.
There's
Okay.
a lot. Lucas raps.
He's insane.
Yeah, he's crazy. People say he's a rapper, but I think
He's a trap.
he has a trap sound, But Blackie for sure.
Oh, Blackie as well. Blackie's quite
If
good.
you need
That's
like a proper answer, Blackie's there's someone whose sound that I also listen to a lot, Because he's doing it right, man.
And he is, and he's Usomnyama's baby.
Yeah,
Like he's really out there with it. But yeah, like it was nice to get to know you. Today now, I want us to talk about some Twitter trends that have been going on. There's been like a big Zulu versus the big Zulu versus I don't know, every South African rapper there's ever been. And how do you think of that? Like, do you think beef grows and helps grow people, or do you think there's positive outcomes from beefs? And
not the way that people have made beefs now.
oh, okay.
Yeah, but in a hip hop sort of, how can I say? Like, if you're gonna look at it in a hip hop manner, beef is very good for hip hop.
Yeah.
Like that's how it was the like beef battle rap is like the Olympics.
Oh,
you know, like
actually.
back then it was like the Olympics. Like I feel like a lot of people prefer to go watch battle rap back in the day than to actually watch a performance or someone performing a song. You know, so it was a competitive sport, I guess. But now people turn beef into like a very personal thing. You know, it's no longer competitive. It's hostile.
It's you coming at me, so I'm not gonna come back at you or something like that.
But I think with the Big Zulu thing, that's strictly hip hop.
You think that's strictly
That's
hip-hop?
strictly hip hop because
That's
of the
nice.
way that he went about it. He didn't go for anybody's family. He went directly for the people. Like I'm gunning for you,
And
you know. And they responded in a hip hop manner. But okay, you're gonna release a diss track on me. I'm gonna release a diss track on you.
And that's actually I like that because I mean we've seen beefs from the beginning of hip hop. I mean like from the 70s, 80s. We've seen beefs take people out. We've seen a lot, like especially like in America with the gangsterism and whatever. We've seen a lot of that. So I think South African beef is nice because it's still healthy. It's
That's
still
very true.
very healthy.
That's very true. That's very true. I think there was a stage where it was becoming a little bit unhealthy with the Cassper AKA one.
Yeah, that was.
It was becoming very unhealthy because then people started pitting other artists against each other. Artists who never really had a problem until that energy race. Like Nasty and Reese, like if you listen to a lot of their interviews, they never had a problem with each other. It was situations,
record labels and
stuff
like
and
that.
situations that made it seem like that.
Yeah.
And then eventually they did have that falling out that they had.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was unhealthy a lot in that aspect.
In that era as well, because
like
that's where
Nasty and Aries, you know, type of thing, like.
Yeah. And I think also when you hit the Cassper and the AKA beef, I think the way they saw it was getting unhealthy was when people started choosing camps. Like you'd always choose a side, but their camps are insane.
Yeah, it was cult like.
Yeah, it was very cult like, and it was quite. And their camps are like they're right for them. Like I think the first time I really encountered, I've always encountered Cassper fans or AKA fans, but I think the first time I really encountered like someone from I think it was during that phase, and this person was just if Cassper did anything, like that person would now actually hate somebody else because it's like
It was crazy. Like I also remember that phase. It was very crazy. But I'm glad that it's happening. Yeah, we're out of that, and it's happening the way that it's happening now. Like hip hop went into a very dark phase in South Africa, if you notice.
And how do you think of what do you think of the piano versus hip hop thing?
There's no such. Because piano blues are rapping on hip hop on piano tracks. You know, like,
okay.
They're also hip hop artists, but they just do it on a different genre. You know, because those bros rap on the tracks. You know.
Yeah, and you
so,
a piano fan?
I am a piano fan, but you know, hip hop counts. I would do piano. I think not now, but I would do piano.
You would do piano,
yeah,
okay.
I would do piano.
Maybe it would be like a young Cassper. I think Cassper does. Yeah.
Cassper does
thing.
piano. I don't like his piano. No offense. No offense to the bro, but I don't like his piano. You know, like it's very hip hop.
Oh, okay.
Like if you're gonna do piano, I think embrace the whole piano sound.
Okay.
Don't try and make a fusion of the two. You know.
Okay. And then we have a second segment.
And if you've made it this far, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more.
Guys, by the way, Coke, please sponsor me.
Make life easier.
Yeah, make life easier, Doug. So you can, get some proper mics and a proper studio and stuff. But okay, so now we have an interesting segment. It's called "Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?" And we want to know if that school fees that was paid is actually it was thinking. Do you trust yourself?
I do.
You trust yourself?
Yeah,
okay, so it's general knowledge questions. It's South African based mainly, and we're going to see how many points We're going to see how many points you basically going to score, right?
Sure.
So, question number 1, and it's out of 10, eh? Question number 1: who played the character Crocodile in the movie Sarafina?
Yo.
I have a clue for you.
Okay.
Doja Cat's dad.
Oh, okay, no, he must be on board. I mean, I was trying to think of his name, and then was on board.
Okay.
From Ismail. He played on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
don't know his real name.
I don't know if that do you get a point for that, guys? Do you think he should get a point?
No.
That's wrong.
Man, you got
It's
Sorry, bruh.
Question number 2: how many Lord of the Ring films are there?
6.
Says here the answer was 3.
There's 3 Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
No ways, guys. 3.
Yeah, bro, I believe that. Because one movie is like 3 hours long.
There was 6, guys.
Okay. Question. Okay, that's 0. You're not doing very well.
No. No, I'm not.
How many questions are
Watch Lord of the Rings.
There are
guys.
7. There are 7. So you
No,
have the
I
chance
can-
to
yeah, I
see
can
to
think
redeem
of it.
yourself. Okay. What is the name of the actor who played Jack Dawson in
Jesus.
Titanic?
Sorry. Oh, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. Okay, correct. Name the 4 neighboring countries of South Africa.
Zimbabwe, Mozambique. Wait. Lesotho and Swaziland are inside.
Oh, so inland, they're landlocked. So it's
Zimbabwe,
outside.
Mozambique. Fufu, I think Botswana.
Yeah.
There's one more. Hey. What's the last one? I'm not sure the fourth one.
You're not sure. Hold on. Okay, so you have 4 out of 10. So it's Namibia.
Namibia. Oh.
Namibia. Question number 5: what country produces the most coffee in the world?
In the world.
In the world.
This is interesting. Hey. For some reason, I think it's Germany.
It's actually Brazil.
Brazil.
Yeah. Which country invented tea?
And then Ahmed.
No, I don't like these questions.
No!
You're
You think of
Yeah, fifth grader does not know these questions.
Okay. Which country in the world invented tea? You?
Yo, guys, wait. That's not England. It's not England.
Wrong. China.
I just thought of like the China. Like the
Chinese. Don't you know that chai means tea?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's
okay.
like a.
Chinese tea.
Yeah. So if you say
Chinese.
chai, so these people are like, oh, I'm drinking chai tea. They're drinking tea, dog.
Are you
That's what they say.
So you mentioned
But I
something-
don't
So
know
she's
how
just
they
like chai.
say. Yeah, you
drinking
drink
chai.
chai.
Not chai tea.
But I learned that from a friend, so
Hold on.
I don't
guys.
want to fact check, bro.
About these questions. The world, we said South Africa.
No, it's just South Africa. You know, it's Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? Have you ever watched the show? Like, they ask
There's
very
no
hard
ways.
questions, bro. They
There's
don't
no-
ask 2 times 3.
Hey, that's 6. You see, we should go there.
Quick math.
Quick minutes. Okay, it's fine.
Okay, and the last question. So you got
Last-
4. You literally have 4, bro, out of 10. So you have a chance to scrape through and redeem
How
yourself.
much is this one out of?
It's 1.
It's out of 1.
And the question is how. Okay, so it's a riddle actually. Yeah?
Okay.
How can you drop a raw egg on the concrete floor without cracking it?
How How can you drop a raw egg?
On the concrete floor without cracking it.
I think upright. Upright. If you drop
It's
it
actually
upright.
because it's a riddle, like the egg can't crack a concrete floor.
Jesus Christ.
There's no ways a fifth grade. I'm back there now. There's no ways a fifth grade.
Okay, we'll give him. He's answered 2 times 3, so we'll give him 5, bro.
There you go.
That's 50%, bro. You straight through this module, but anyway.
That's all we are looking for.
Yeah, like we got 50. Okay, yeah, and yeah. So thank you so much
That was fun.
for being on. Yeah,
That
it
was
was. It was a really dope show, and I really had a good time with
Same,
you.
actually.
I'm glad you're here, and thank you to the entourage. People can't see the entourage, but the entourage was here as well, and it was a really good time. And I hope that you can come back when I'm probably more professional
most
and
definitely.
everything.
You know where to find me.
Yes, and hopefully your career just skyrockets. I need to watch you alongside AKA. So,
Most
you know what I
definitely.
mean?
You need to surpass AKA.
You need to pass AKA and everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so
very
much.
No, thank you and good luck with your podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I had a really great show, and hopefully you can tune in to the next episode.